Part 7. I just wanted to make sure I said a lot of legal information in that last one, that last video, that is. And I just want to come straight from my heart to talk about what really is happening and make it in some form of summation in just layman terms. As I was reading the opinion of the court, you're talking about it was difficult. It was extremely difficult. Why? Because when you are working extremely hard as a pro se litigant and you're going up against just the court, I didn't even have to argue against the counsel anymore because they struck all her briefs, all her motions, everything. They saw the notation, but the trial court didn't. They didn't address that part. She was never supposed to be in the trial court. He was dead. Let me keep harping on that. He was dead. So she didn't have anyone else to come in and say that I can't represent him. And then this is one thing I want to share with you all, a little side note, a little bit of something. When I found out that he was dead, I called the attorney who was representing the probate court. And what was interesting was when she and I got on the telephone to talk about it, and mind you that the probate was going through this part of, while I'm in the appeals court, the probate was going on, which meant we didn't know he was dead, or I didn't. She did. The first thing the lawyer said to me on the telephone, the probate attorney, let me be real clear. She said, "I thought your case was over." I said, "Excuse me?" She said, "I thought your case was all the way over." "Who told you that?" She said, "The opposing counsel." Hello. Now, mind you, I hadn't even received the opinion from the court yet. She says she thought the case was over. So let me chronologically put this together. I'm in the appeals court. He dies. Probate goes on. I get an opinion. Then I find out that he's dead. In the process, I call the attorney and say, "Hey, I need to inform you that I'm a debtor in this probate, so don't close this probate up. It's already closed up." She says, "Well, I thought your case was over was over prior to me filing in probate." That's what she thought. She thought it was over prior to the probate. Who told her that? I said, "Who told you that?" She said, "Opposing counsel." Ain't nothing like a good recording. I know you all are watching these videos, and I'm glad that you are. But the Court of Appeals found it to be no harm. The law says when a person dies, Jones versus Life Care, that case I keep citing, substitution is required, especially when the counsel knew. She can't get out of that she did not know. The Michelle Todd affidavit I'm posting, and I'm going to show you all exactly what his opposing counsel knew, Wendy Longmire. The other counsels, they said they knew of, or they made an excuse. But it was important the lead counsel, she knew. He died on the 12th, they buried him on the 12th. Here we are going through this process. I'm being made a fool of, an idiot. But I'm not. None of those. The court said, "I've got to get him out of here." I had several instances. As I said in the last video, the judge asked me, "How'd you know he died?" I said, "Clearly, when the opinion came down from the Court of Appeals that he won, you have to go and tell your client that he won or she won." Who did she go to? To the grave? Did she call the wife and tell her? Who did she call? What was the harm? Is there any harm for lying? Who did Miss Longmire call and tell in the family that Dr. Islam had prevailed in the Court of Appeals? An opinion had been rendered and he won. Here it is. I'm thinking he is alive, not alive, but alive, and been dead. She said nothing. She came in that courtroom, in that trial courtroom with no, normally she comes in with a suitcase and everything else. She came in, she had her head down the whole time. The video doesn't lie. The video's coming. I'm just trying to get these, my videos put in. But I want to say to you, as we went through this process and they gave me this 21 page, is this 21 page? Well, this long opinion from the Court of Appeals. And it was all negative. Not one time did I prevail on any argument. Not one. But guess what? I can read. And I didn't use AI to read. I used my own knowledge. Law books, study. And it's important that you all have the same tenacity. Trust God. I'm a Christian. I'm not ashamed to say that. Never. You may not be, but the law still is governed for you and me constitutionally, procedurally. The procedures in this case was not followed. That's why all the attorneys who have reached out to me and said they cannot believe it. They cannot believe that it did not follow. And how did the Court of Appeals supersede the Tennessee Supreme Court? That's the high court. That rule is binding. The application from the Tennessee Supreme Court and that the appeals court said that that it was not applicable to me, that's not true. It applied to me. What rule didn't apply to me is what they cited in this case called Sipes versus Sipes. That had nothing to do with me. My case that I cited that they did not look at. And can you just imagine that they went through this whole opinion and did not address my brief and a reply brief? They stayed in here and said, Mr. Simmons said this, Mr. Simmons said that. Mr. Simmons didn't say that. And if I did say that, then you forgot to look at whatever the rest of what Mr. Simmons said. You stopped. I'm going to give you some credit. You read some. You may have read it all. But how did it flip and not become true? That's a fact. You say, why am I telling this on TikTok and around the world? Because appellate judges and judges have qualified immunity. There's nothing you can do to those judges. My next step, if they don't take this petition to rehear, is to go to the Supreme Court, Rule 11, and see if they would take it. Who knows? But I serve a good God, and I got faith to believe. Now, I'm going to tell you something seriously. I didn't say that this didn't hurt. I'm not going to tell you that. I'm not going to tell you you're going to have some good days, down days, good moments, and low moments. But what you do keep is your faith. And if I could encourage you just to keep your faith, be encouraged. You're going to have some sleepless nights. I know I have. Because studying stays in my brain. And, I have to keep going. And that's what I do. I just want you all to know that this case is real. The case law is real. It's on my side. As I load these up this week, and you can take some time to review them, you will see my brief, principal brief, reply brief, because they struck her brief. And why did they strike her brief? Because she didn't represent him, because I informed them that he was dead. You mean to tell me when I told him that he was dead, you mean to tell me no substitution should come in and she's the executor of the estate, and I gave you the probate number and the information in which that information you used to send out to mail, Mrs. Islam. So I'll leave you with this. Just simple. It's going to be all right. All things do work together for the good of them. Hold on and be encouraged. Keep speaking life. Praise Him in advance. And know that all things work together for the good of them who love the Lord and who are called according to His purpose. That means stay in the race. Just stay in the race.